Good day and thank you for joining me on Societal Concern. This is Oluwayomi Oluwapelumi. Societal Concern is a program that shines the spotlight on youth-centered manners in our society with the motive to stimulate and reorientate young Nigerian citizens towards a better community growth and national development. Your comment and feedback on this program is very paramount. So we will be here every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 p.m. and I will always need your feedback. Please join me and share your opinion, and that should be via calls and online chats. So what do we have today on Societal Concern? Yes, we are going to be discussing on issues that is really paramount and is of importance to us all as a society and as a country at large. Education. Education, they say, is a passport to the future. So, if education is the most powerful weapon to change the world, then I tell you, the future belongs to those who really prepare for it right now. Our topic today on this program is expectation on education from the new government. It is no longer news that it is just 6 days to handing over, 6 days to the expiring time of the present government, whereby we'll be having a new government taking over. What are your expectations on education? Let's hit the streets. Let's have what the people have to say, the expectation of the people on education. Thereafter, I would then introduce my guest to you. Let's go. Offer.
Have any need for anybody to travel out for education. If the government has not paid, the government has paid. Even before, in the 70s, in the 80s, even probably early 90s, we have good quality education. Our schools are good. We are doing very well. But now the government is not even care of what happened to public schools. That is why you see them, having a licensing private universities, and even if their children, they don't even school in this Nigerian schools. They take their children abroad to access those good schools and good facilities. Even before then, when I was there, because I schooled long ago. I left secondary in 81. Even then, Nigerian education was so good. People used to come up from outside the country to school here in Nigeria. We had good, even like teachers, Ghanaians, Indians, even teachers from the Europe. They used to come to Nigeria to teach us. Then what do we have today? Education is decayed. The government needs to wake up so that they can put this in place. If we have good government in place, they'll be able to fix all this infrastructure as far as education is concerned. You don't need to travel out before you have good quality.
So, do you, at the moment now, do you support Nigerian students going outside the country to look for better livelihood and education?
Well, if they can afford it, fine. If they can afford it, fine. But if they cannot afford it, they can see, make do with what is available.
Hello.
You guys can still space out a little bit.
Shift here.
Just a little bit. A little. Like that. Yes, exactly.
way it is, Nigerians will always travel abroad for greener pasture. So asking immigrants not to come with their family will not deter them, as long as they are qualified to go there, earn money, they partake back home for the betterment of their family.
Thank you so much, sir. So during the week, our own Nigerian Ngozi Gojewela said something that she said something.
The money, the resources, and basically the difference in the currency. So even if you are not permitted to go along with your family, I think you have a way of taking people who go there to come back, because if you relocate with your family, chances are that you do not think of coming back. But again, that will entirely deter people from going there, because the basic reason you see people going is for greener pasture.
Welcome back. That is what we have for you on the streets. That has been the comment of the people, the expectation from the government, the new government. So now with me is an ambassador, the United Nations ambassador, in person of Ambassador Adekunle Badmus, Ambassador Dr. Adekunle Badmus. Hello, sir.
Hi, how you doing? Excellent day to you, huh?
How you doing, sir?
I'm great.
It's good to have you in the studio today.
Yes.
So can you tell us more about yourself?
Oh, my name is Ambassador Dr. Adekunle Badmus. I'm a United Nations Ambassador for Quality and Affordable Education in Africa. I'm equally a UN diplomat on government bilateral agreement in the whole of Africa, and I'm the CEO of Goodmas Learning Center worldwide.
Wow, that is the ambassador for you today in the studio, and I'm very sure that he will be able to do justice to most of the questions, especially when you have some to throw in here. So, Ambassador, we are talking about education.
Yes.
The expectation of the Nigerian citizens from the new government. So we have been having some issues and concern about Nigerian education. This concern has been so challenging that a lot of people felt that there is a need for a change, there is a need for improvement concerning education in Nigeria. What do you have to say to that?
Yes, there is a need for improvement for education in Nigeria. I agree. But I want the people to know, the people need to partner with the government. Nigeria does not belong to the number one person in the country, nor the number one person in the state, nor the number one person in the local government alone. Everyone that hail from any tribe have a stake in this country, and we must put all of this into consideration, into perspectives, because when the people think, oh, it is the responsibility of the government to do everything about education, no. And sometimes they dare compare what is currently happening in Nigeria to what's currently happening in some other developed country. But I want you to know, there are stakeholders that equally support the government in those developed countries. And that is why, from my own mandate, we are ready to partner with the Ministry of Education to ensure in this incoming administration, to ensure that we create a government bilateral agreement office.
So even if you are not permitted to
bringing
go along with your
stakeholders,
family, I think you have a way
different
of
top brands
taking people who go
in
there to come back,
to
because
look into
if you relocate with
those
your family,
government schools
chances are that you
and
do not
what
think
they
of coming
could,
back.
what value
But
they
again,
could add to them.
that will entirely deter people from going there, because the basic reason you see people
What
going
value
is for greener pasture. Is because of the difference in the currency. As long as you have $1 to be equivalent to
and to be able to
something naira, Nigeria
bridge
will
the
Nigeria
gap,
to other places.
to be able to
The
bridge
only way you can stop
the
it
current
is
gap
to develop an economy,
that is
is to make sure
affecting,
that you
that is
improve
looking
on
like
what we
a
export,
deep
so that we
gully,
can
and at least,
more foreign
if not
exchange
up to
to
the
diversify the
private
economy.
school, at least almost like the private school. So
But,
we are looking at,
Ambassador,
yes.
just for the point of mentioning the private school, and still talking about education and Nigeria education, the expectation of the people from the government. Yes, you have said it that the people should not just depend on the government, but rather look for a way to partner with the government. But on the note of mentioning the private school, are you aware that there is a release from the teachers registration unit, the Teachers Registration Council, that 70% of the Southwest teachers from private schools are not qualified?
Okay. That is the perspective. You understand? I don't know how true the statement is, and I cannot actually justify that statement. But however, is that private school, I know for them to pitch their services to those that are buying from them, they must have been dishing out some sort of quality. If you have a private school, you want to do better than what is currently happening so that you can be relevant in the field. So if the Teachers Association is saying that most of the teachers hired are not qualified, maybe based on certificates, but maybe the content is better, because there is no school owner that will set up a school with such huge investment, get a landed property, build a very gigantic school, and not want to dish out something quality to the people. So that's one I want you to understand that. But I'm not here to justify that. But one thing I want to say to the people is that the people should come into this realization that the development of this country is in our hands. If we're looking into the education sector, not only in the education sector, in all sector, we all need to put in our best and add our best to what government is currently doing. We don't need to ignore and say, oh, the government has to do everything for us. Let us all stand up and do something for our country. After all, it's our father's land. You understand? So people might say, oh, the government is making a lot, is doing this, is doing that. That notwithstanding, a lot of time we thought so, but we are not very sure. You understand? A lot of time we could think about something and it might not be true. So what's my point? My point is that our education sector, anything we have seen in it is what we made it to be. It is not just the responsibility of the teachers. It is not just the responsibility of the school owners or those people that are the stakeholders, the suburb and all of that. Everybody needs to look into every government school in their neighborhood and just try your own best and contribute your own quarters into adding to the development of those people studying there. For us, based on my mandate, we are ready to call on all Nigerians from the diaspora, top brands. We are ready to come together to ensure that we do something. You understand? There's an adage in my mother's tongue that says, Omotako luma bilita kota. The child you did not train well, that is the child that will actually sell your fortune. So what's my point? Let us all know that everything happening around us is our concern. It's very, very, very important. It's not just the concern of the government. We should not do like that. Me, I'm okay. I don't have any reason to be disturbed about who is not okay. You know, we should not do that, because the environment will equally dish it back to us, and that we can find in the different kind of vices that we are currently faced with. So we are faced with these vices because some of us are okay, lots of us are not okay, and some of us that are okay show a very low concern about those that are not okay. And we should stop that, and we should all come together, and we should all add our own bit into those that are vulnerable in our society. If you can't find them, look for them. They are there in your neighborhood. You understand? They are there, and you need to look at the schools there. You need to look at programs that you could come up with, like the one we are currently partnering with the island government now, island embassy. Putting debate among them, making them happy, donating stuffs, calling on all our friends in the diaspora, and we're going to do more. We want a situation whereby when we have students in the government schools, when they have good grades, we can actually assist them to expose them abroad too. You understand? It is not just the child of the privileged people or the rich people that should enjoy the good things of life. Let us all consider the fact that, we are all Nigerians, and anything that is happening to them, if those things have made them to make some wrong decisions, we will all feel the impact in the society. And it is our responsibility to know that the country does not belong to one person or does not belong to some group of people. It belongs to all of us, in as much as you are rooted in one tribe or in one ethnic in this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that enlightenment, Ambassador. I want to pick my questions from the angle of the diaspora, like you have mentioned. You see, not just limited to all other citizens. We understand and we know that most of our leaders take their children outside the country, the shores of this country, and to seek for quality education for them. And now we're talking about Nigeria, we're talking about every citizen as partners in development. I'm sure you're aware of the latest intention of the UK government, the policy that will be coming up, or they are trying to work on banning all
Dependent.
they're going to be banning all dependents. That means all international students will not be able to come to the country with their family. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, the story have it that dependents from undergraduate to masters, that they will still allow PhD, where the country the British government has helped themselves to develop their country, and that is why I'm calling on all Nigerians, to come together. Let's build our father's land. You understand? I am not calling on all of us because I'm one of the less privileged. You understand? No, I'm not one of the less privileged. I am even one of the less fortunate. The ones that are privileged to have things, and most things are going on well for me. But I come to think about it. What do we want to leave for our generation? Remember, in the true sense, everything you have owned today, you are only a custodian of it. Nothing actually belongs to us in the real sense. Let's come to think about it, because this is from another realm of thinking. And the reason why I'm taking you to this realm of thinking is because I want all Nigerians to stand up and understand that they need to do something. Some people have a lot of money lying fallow, not knowing what to do with it. You can pick somebody, a child of a less privilege, and say, I'm going to be sponsoring you in school. It's okay. You understand? You're shining light in those, you understand, in that family. So, people that have built their country can set any law. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? When they see that you guys are coming into their country and you are inconveniencing them, they set the law to, to ease your step and said, we are the owner of this place. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And that is why
the
money,
money,
essence that we pay
the
attention to
resources,
our environment,
basically
show
the difference
concern
in the currency.
to our environment.
So even if you are not
understand?
permitted to
Every
go
one of
along
us
with
has
your family,
this duty to
I
do.
think you have a way
Anywhere you hail
of
from,
taking
or
people
the
who go there
environment that you're
to come
living
back,
in,
because if you relocate with your
endeavor to
family,
live right,
chances are
and
that you
endeavor
will
to
not
look
think
at
of coming
what
back.
can I
But again,
contribute
That will
to
entirely
take
deter people from going there. Because the basic reason you see people going is for greener
It's
pastures.
very, very, very
It's
important.
for the it's because of the
Can I
difference in the
bring
currency.
together like minds?
As
And that
long
was
as
why
you
we were
have
partnering with
$1
civil society government,
it will be
we're
equivalent
partnering
to
with churches,
700.
mosques, societies, and everything to say, let's create government bilateral agreement. You understand? When we create government bilateral agreement offices in those places, then we can now bring top brands that are already doing well. They come together and look at how they can support the vulnerables. You know, those that are no class of that community or that church or that mosque or everywhere. Then in turn, those that are okay in that community can patronize the brand. So that is what we're trying to do. We've already set up one in Mushin local government and it's currently going on well. You understand? With scholarships and everything. Now, what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that the development of this country, Nigeria, it is Nigerians that will develop Nigerians. It is Africans that will develop the continent of Africa. So we must come to that realization. And when we come to that realization, we should move just like our national anthem says, arise, O compatriots. Nigeria is calling us. We have to obey. It's a nation call. Unless we don't want to build anything for the generation yet unborn. But with this incoming administration, we are ready to work with the administration. We are ready to ensure that we look at all the hidden treasures in government bilateral agreement, and we are ready to expose huge opportunity to the good people of Nigeria, and we are ready to create more than 80 million opportunities to the good people, and in such a way that Nigeria will not only be producing nation, but will be a country that people will come and search for jobs. Thank you.
Well, it is obvious that you really have a big heart for this country, Nigeria. And as an advocate of government bilateral agreement, for the benefit of who know nothing about what government bilateral agreement is, especially on education, would you like to take us on what government bilateral agreement is?
Yes. Government bilateral agreement, when you hear about it, it looks vague to people. What is government bilateral agreement? Anytime you see an embassy, a foreign consulate in your country, it connotes, as at the time that embassy was established, the number one person in our country and the number one person in that country comes together with all the ministers, everyone, all the stakeholders in that country, you understand, comes together to sign bilateral agreement. For who? For the people. But lo and behold, the people that this bilateral agreement was signed on their behalf know little or nothing as to how to annex it. A lot of people are just going vague, not knowing that, oh, this embassy, this US embassy in my country, my government have signed bilateral agreement with them. And because of this government bilateral agreement, the embassy, now the country now bring a door into your country for you to be able to have access to diverse opportunities. Not just to visit the place or not just to jackpot to the place, but to come up with concepts that could benefit that country and your country. Not that country and your country alone, but the people of that country and the people of our country. Now, because a lot of people don't know this, and that is why I've taken it upon myself from the United Nations standpoint as a UN ambassador to look into this government, the hidden treasure in this government bilateral agreement, and to shine the light everywhere I go to. You know, we started tilling educational bilateral agreement around 7 years ago, and so far so good. We've been able to create different line of services. We've been able to engage people. We have about 8 offices in Nigeria, create jobs. You know, people are nursing those opportunities that are available, and they are very happy for it. You understand? So having done that last year, when I became a UN diplomat, and we now said, okay, we're looking into other industries. We've taken case study of farmers markets in the United States, in Brazil, in UK, in Dubai, and in Turkey, and in some other African countries. And we are building some farmers market here. You can imagine an abattoir you get into, nothing smells. You understand? Everything is useful. So we are replicating, and we are at it already. And we equally spotted a real estate company. The farmers market is being headed by Abyss Farmers Market, and we spotted a real estate company called Agview Investment Limited, and they've been doing well, and we are trying to ensure that they make sure that everyone own a property in this country. Already the statistics has shown the rate of home owners in Nigeria is just about less than 25%. All of the things that is needed to be done to be able to ensure that people start owning homes, we are currently working on it. And that is why on education we have done a lot already by brokering an exam called YOS. You can liken YOS, Yabanji Orange Snivers, as Turkish jam, just like the UTME is Nigerian jam, just like the SAT is American jam, something like that. So you can liken it to Turkish jam, and which enabled students from Nigeria and all the country that has bilateral agreement in the whole of Africa with Turkey, they have access to this country to be able to get into the government-owned university.
Wow.
And we've been able to assist more than 1,000 students already. So we are at it already, and this is the era of tapping into uncommon opportunity in the government bilateral agreement. It is a blue ocean strategy.
Wow, that is really interesting.
Yeah.
Talking about government bilateral agreement, it seems to be a wide one, and
Yes, very big.
the educational aspect would be of interest to quality people and definitely to the advancement of this country. But before we go to that, I want to ask you questions on Western education. You see, some people maybe or wanted to. I want to have your opinion. Definitely, this is what you do, and we want to have more knowledge from you why it is important and your take around Western education.
Well, Western education, like you said, is what our colonial master has actually put on us. I remember when we were growing up, if you speak vernacular, they make our own mother's tongue vernacular to us. Whereas their language should be vernacular because that is their mother's tongue. But because we want to identify with development, we want to identify with different mindsets, you understand? So in our own nation, in our own land, our own mother's tongue became vernacular. That any other language you speak apart from English, you'll be fine for it. A lot of us know that we become Olundu. You understand? We could not talk in classes because we don't want to say something that people will laugh at, or because we don't know how to say it, because when we speak it, it has an intonation of where you come from in the language that in the Western language that you're speaking. But I would say it's a bad thing, but at the same time, there is a way we accept things in this society. We accept it and then we forget where we're coming from. You understand? There is nothing bad. In Turkey, most of the government schools they teach in Turkish. You understand? Are you getting it? So if you are from the southwest, you are from the Yoruba land, why can't we implement something where people can be teaching in Yoruba? If you are from the Igbo land, why can't the 5 southeast states, why can't they implement something where people can be teaching in Igbo? If you are from Hausa land, why can't they? But no ambiguity, we have decided to come together, different ethnics, and we have said our official language is English. No problem. It's okay if we have agreed that, okay, the common language we have decided to be speaking is English. So my perspective is that, okay, It's good you understand the English, you're able to communicate in it, and all of that. Lots of country equally love to understand English, but let's make sure that we don't forget where we're coming from. Instance, even in my home abroad, with my children, I speak Yoruba to them. I'm a Yoruba boy. You understand? I hail from the southwest of your state. So I ensure that I call them by their Yoruba name and I speak Yoruba to them. So that is what I do, because I let them understand that it is us, Nigerians, that will fix Nigeria. No matter any height they get to, they should look for opportunities and take it to their father's land. So if every parent encourage their words to say, don't forget where you come from, it will be very, very okay. And for them not to forget, if we actually speak to them, for them to listen, we need to reduce the vices that are currently happening. How do we reduce it? By equally supporting the government to reduce the vices. And that is the only way we can actually encourage our world to say, oh, when they are okay, let them bring more opportunities into the country.
Well, that is a question from Ambassador Adekunle Badmus. Why can't Nigeria teach in the mother tongue? So if this question is going to be answered, who will answer this question? Okay, so Ambassador, still talking about Western, and I want us to talk about studying abroad now. You see, a lot of people are clamoring, hungry to be informed, to relearn, to learn and unlearn, and they really felt they're not getting enough, and they are always trying to look for where and how this could be done. A lot of people have been victim of online scam, still looking for education, even at that, with their money and all that. So with your influence and your class, I believe that there are some things and there are some guidance you will be able to give to the people, even at the moment, so that they would have a way out and not just be a victim of different vices around.
Okay, there's a saying that goes like this: information, they say, is the bridge between where you are and where you ought to be. It is no longer a news. The number of high school graduates that we produce, we don't have enough tertiary institutions to absorb them. And this is part of the things that has contributed immensely to the vices that we're faced with. So we need help. When you need help, identify that you need help. And because we have signed bilateral agreements with several countries, you understand, education is part of it. The educational bilateral agreement is part of it. Now, most of this country, the kind of currency that is spent, when you compare it with our naira, they are very high. E.g., the United States spend US dollars.
Yeah.
US dollar to naira now on the parallel market is going for almost 7 and something.
747, the last time I checked.
Now, UK, United Kingdom, British pounds and naira is going for almost 1,000 naira for £1. Instant Euro, compare it to naira, is almost 800 and something naira. So you can see the large gap. Then we have other countries that Nigeria has signed bilateral agreement with. We have spotted Turkey. Turkish lira and naira is about 45 naira to 1 Turkish lira, which I think is lower. It's not even up to 100 naira. So that is what is making Turkey to come handy. You understand? Turkish schools and Turkish environment is highly developed. Very, very developed. And now they can come in as, a support. By the time all of our tertiary institutions pick the ones that could pick, the rest can actually, or why they are in SS3 or why they are writing their JAM, they can equally add the Turkish JAM, which is the YOS exam, into their bucket list. And by so doing, they could actually have access to over 100 government-owned universities in Turkey. And this could expose them to some of the grants from European Union, the Erasmus program, the Mevlana program of the Turkish government, and the Farabi program of the Turkish government, which is an exchange program that government gives you money as a good student to be able to like explore other opportunities in other school outside that country. So what's my point? My point.
Sorry, before you get to that point, I'm not sure that point is clear, what you're just leaving now. When you get admission to Turkey, you'll be exposed to all the opportunity to on getting scholarship.
Yes, you'll be exposed to so many opportunities. By getting in there, you are exposed to programs like Erasmus program. It's an EU program that they give to students. You understand? Mevlana is a Turkish government program.
And will this program also be available for international students?
Yes. As a matter of fact,
Not
my nephew,
just for topic.
my nephew is benefiting now. He is in Turkey and is going on an Erasmus program to Poland. You understand? So, what's my point? My point is that when you expose your kids abroad, you give them a bigger education. A bigger education. Meaning that their mindset, you're changing their mindset, you're changing their orientation. They will see ways and manner in which some other people achieve stuffs, how their learning pattern and everything. And they are going to make new friends. You understand? They are going to see life from a different perspective altogether. And this will make them to have opportunities to actually, cement the government bilateral agreement that we're talking about, to bring the opportunity that is embedded in the government bilateral agreement back to the country. So for those listening to us, they can actually, get to the anchor of this program to actually ensure that, this most of this opportunity, we've been discussing it. They can Google it, they can actually check it out, and for their worth, you can actually ensure that your worth partake in most of these things for their undergraduate program. What about postgraduate? Postgraduate equally have opportunities. When you're a brilliant student, as a postgraduate student, maybe you come up with upper credits, or you come up with distinctions. You are very good at your academics. You have a lot of scholarship abroad. You understand? By the virtue of this government bilateral agreement between Nigeria and US, Nigeria and Canada, Nigeria and UK, Nigeria and Turkey, Nigeria and Germany, and all of those countries, there are so many scholarships moving around. You understand? For international students. People know that the best resource you can ever develop is the woman resource. And a lot of people deliberately, there are some countries that deliberately invest in woman resource because they know that when they invest in you, in turn, when you know where your scholarship money is coming from, you actually want to give back. So that is what they believe. And it has been working in the developed country, then it can work with us. So that is why we encourage people. Let's ensure that once we are graduating the student from SS3, let's ensure that as virtually all of them get into one or two programs to engage themselves meaningfully. So for those that could not meet up with the quotas of the institute, the higher institutions in Nigeria, they can actually get abroad. For those that can afford to go to the US, because there are three things you must consider if you actually want to study abroad. Number one is the willingness. You understand? The willingness, if you put 100 people in the room, you ask them, are you willing to study abroad? Everybody will say yes. So far they are students. It's just free. But number two is the ability. The ability connotes the documentation required. You understand? Do you have the right papers? Do you have the right credits to be able to get into that program that you want to go for? Once you scale through that, then the number three thing is the capability. You must always put the capability in perspective. You must always put it in the picture that, can I afford the tuition fees in this country? Can I afford the tuition fee in this country? Okay, I love to go to the US. Let me make a country that is not too expensive my stepping stone. By the time I graduate from that country, I can now step into that country. I'll be working and I'll be studying at the same time. So all of this is available and, can actually put people through.
Wow, this is really interesting. You see that the real problem you're really having actually is no problem.
Yes.
Because you're just a step away from the answer. And this is why everything you need in life is just around you. It's just that depend on the kind of people and the kind of contact you're making. So this is how easy and how quality education could be available to us all. Wow, and I really hope and we really desire that this opportunity can also come to Nigeria, just like we had on the street during our interview. Like an elderly woman was actually commenting that in their days there are a lot of opportunities for them like that, a lot of companies, a lot of offer for them to just travel out, and they actually took advantage of that. But for now, how about us? How about this generation? Do we have this opportunity? But don't worry, there are a lot of solutions to all your concern. And so, sir, we just have to call it, we just have to wrap up the segment right now because of our time. And I want to ask if you have any other thing to share with our people out there before we call it a day.
Yes. I will go back to where I started from. Nigeria belongs to all of us Nigerians. Remember, the way people look at us is the way we present ourselves to them. Remember to be a good ambassador of your father's land. Support any government in power. Look at what you can do to add value to those that are vulnerable around you. Look at what you can do to add value to education. Look at what you can do to add value to other sectors in your power. If God has bestowed you with knowledge and wisdom as to how to go about something, please start sharing it with your environment. You don't need to say, oh, I need to get to power. I need to become the governor. I need to become the local government chairman to be able to show what I want to do. No. You are all stakeholders. We are all stakeholders. Nigeria belongs to all of us. And it is our responsibility to fix Nigeria. And it's our responsibility to support the government in power to make sure Nigeria becomes a better place. For me, Ambassador Dr. Adekunle Badmus, UN Ambassador for Quality and Affordable Education in Africa, UN Diplomat on Government Bilateral Agreement, the CEO of Goodmust Learning Center, I believe Nigeria will be great again. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for that wrap up. It's really great to have you here.
Thank you.
We're just here with Ambassador Adekunle Badmus of the United Nations for quality and affordable education. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
So on this note, this segment, we have to put it on hand, and next is going to be our track line.